Welcome, my friends. Today, I want to talk to you about something that touches all of our lives at one point or another. It's a feeling that can shake us to our very core, a situation that can make us question our worth, our place in the world. I'm talking about that moment when you realize someone doesn't value you anymore. You know that feeling, don't you? That gut wrenching realization that someone who once held you in high regard, someone whose opinion mattered to you, suddenly seems to have forgotten your worth. It's like a punch to the stomach, isn't it? But here's the thing, I'm not here to dwell on that feeling. No, I'm here to show you a way out, a simple trick that can change everything. But before we get to that, let me ask you something. Have you ever stopped to think about why it hurts so much when someone doesn't value us? It's because deep down, we've tied our self worth to their opinion. We've handed over the keys to our happiness to someone else, and when they drop those keys, we feel lost. Now, I want you to picture something for me. Imagine you're holding a beautiful, priceless diamond in your hand. This diamond represents your worth, your value as a human being. Would you hand that diamond over to someone else to determine its value? Would you let them decide whether it's worth anything or not? Of course not. So, you see, the trick I'm about to share with you isn't really a trick at all. It's a fundamental shift in how you view yourself and your place in the world. It's about reclaiming that diamond, your worth, and realizing that its value doesn't change based on who's holding it. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds great, but how do I actually do that? Well, my friend, that's exactly what we're going to explore today. We're going to dive deep into the art of self valuation, of understanding your intrinsic worth, and of living a life that reflects that understanding. Let's start with a simple truth. You are valuable, period, full stop. Your worth isn't determined by your job, your relationships, your bank account, or anyone else's opinion of you. Your worth is inherent. It's part of your very being. And the first step in this journey is to truly, deeply internalize that fact. I want you to take a moment right now. Close your eyes if you're in a safe place to do so. Take a deep breath. Now, I want you to say to yourself, I am valuable. Say it again. I am valuable. Feel those words resonating in your body. Let them sink into every cell, every fiber of your being. Does it feel uncomfortable? Does a part of you resist that statement? That's okay. That's normal. We've spent so much of our lives looking for external validation that it can feel strange to claim our value for ourselves. But here's the thing, that discomfort is where growth begins. Now, let's talk about what happens when we start to truly believe in our own value. It's like flipping a switch. Suddenly, the world looks different. People who don't value us, they don't devastate us anymore. Instead, we start to see them clearly. We realize that their inability to see our worth is about. Think about it this way. If someone can't appreciate a beautiful sunrise, does that make the sunrise any less beautiful? Of course not. It simply means that person is unable to see the beauty that's right in front of them. The same is true when someone fails to value you. It doesn't diminish your worth, it simply reveals their limitations. But here's where it gets really interesting. When you truly value yourself, you start to attract people who value you too. It's like magic, but it's not magic at all. It's simply the law of attraction at work. When you radiate self worth, you become a magnet for people who recognize and appreciate that worth. And now, I'm not saying this transformation happens overnight. It's a journey, and like any journey, it has its ups and downs. There will be days when you falter, when old doubts creep in, but that's okay. The key is to keep moving forward, to keep reminding yourself of your intrinsic value. So, what does this journey look like in practical terms? Well, it starts with small steps. It starts with being mindful of your self talk. You know that voice in your head, the one that's often critical and harsh? It's time to change its tune. Every time you catch yourself thinking something negative about yourself, I want you to pause, take a breath, and then replace that thought with something positive. For example, if you find yourself thinking, I'm not good enough, pause, take a breath, and then replace it with, I am worthy and capable. It might feel forced at first, even a bit silly, but stick with it. Over time, these new thoughts will become more natural, more believable. Another crucial step is to start setting boundaries. When you value yourself, you naturally start to protect your time, your energy, and your emotions. You realize that it's okay to say no to things that don't align with your values or that drain your energy. You start to prioritize your own well being, not out of selfishness, but out of a deep understanding of your own worth. Now, let's talk about something that often trips people up on this journey: the fear of being seen as arrogant or self centered. There's a big difference between valuing yourself and being arrogant. Arrogance comes from a place of insecurity, a need to prove your worth to others. True self worth, on the other hand, is quiet confidence. It doesn't need to boast or put others down, it simply is. And think of it like this: a tree doesn't try to prove it's a tree. It doesn't compare itself to other trees or try to be something it's not. It simply grows, reaching for the sun, spreading its roots deep into the earth. That's what embracing your own value looks like. It's not about being better than anyone else, it's about being fully, authentically you. Now, I want to address something important. Some of you might be thinking, but what if I've made mistakes? What if I've failed? Doesn't that decrease my value? My friends, let me be clear. Your worth is not determined by your successes or failures. Your worth is constant, unchanging. Your mistakes and failures, they're not deductions from your worth, they're additions to your wisdom. They're the experiences that shape you, that teach you, that help you grow. Every misstep is an opportunity to learn, to become stronger, to become more of who you're meant to be. Think about it like this: when a master craftsman makes a mistake, does he throw away the entire piece? No. He finds a way to incorporate that mistake into the design, often creating something even more beautiful and unique than he originally intended. Your life is that masterpiece, and your so called mistakes are part of what makes you uniquely you. Two, now let's circle back to the situation we started with, when someone doesn't value you anymore. Armed with this new understanding of your intrinsic worth, how do you handle it? Well, the first thing to remember is that their opinion doesn't define you. It might hurt, yes. It's okay to feel that pain, but don't let it shake your foundation. Instead, use it as an opportunity for growth. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? How can I use this experience to become even stronger, even more grounded in my own worth? Maybe it's a chance to practice setting boundaries. Maybe it's an opportunity to reevaluate what you want in your relationships. Whatever it is, there's always something to be gained. And here's a powerful truth: when you respond to someone's lack of appreciation with grace and self respect, you often end up teaching them a valuable lesson. You show them what it looks like to truly value oneself. You become a living example of the strength that comes from self worth. Now, I want to be clear about something. Valuing yourself doesn't mean you become an island. It doesn't mean you stop caring about others or seeking meaningful connections. In fact, it's quite the opposite. When you truly value yourself, you're able to form deeper, more authentic relationships. Think about it. When you're secure in your own worth, you don't enter relationships from a place of need or desperation. You're not looking for someone to complete you or validate you. Instead, you're looking for someone to complement you, to share in your journey. You're able to give love freely without expecting anything in return, because you know that your worth isn't dependent on their response. This shift in perspective can transform all of your relationships: romantic, platonic, professional. You start to attract people who are also secure in their own worth, people who can appreciate you for who you truly are. And isn't that what we all want? To be seen, to be appreciated, to be valued for our authentic selves. Now, let's talk about another powerful aspect of valuing yourself: the ability to forgive. When you're secure in your own worth, forgiveness becomes easier. Not because the hurt doesn't matter, but because you understand that holding on to resentment only harms you. You realize that forgiving isn't about condoning someone else's actions, it's about freeing yourself from the burden of anger and hurt. This ability to forgive extends to yourself as well. Remember those mistakes we talked about earlier? When you truly value yourself, you're able to look at those mistakes with compassion. You can forgive yourself for not knowing then what you know now. You can see each misstep as a necessary part of your journey, a stepping stone that led you to where you are today. But here's where it gets really interesting. When you start to value yourself, you begin to see the value in everything around you. It's like putting on a pair of glasses that suddenly brings the world into focus. You start to appreciate the small things: a kind gesture from a stranger, the beauty of a flower growing through a crack in the sidewalk, the taste. This heightened appreciation isn't just about feeling good. It's about connecting with the world around you in a deeper, more meaningful way. When you value yourself, you naturally start to value your experiences more. You become more present, more engaged in your own life. And isn't that what we're all striving for? To feel fully alive, fully present in our own lives? Now, I want to address something that often comes up when we talk about self worth. Some people worry that focusing on their own value might make them selfish or uncaring. But here's the truth: valuing yourself actually makes you more capable of caring for others. It's like the safety instructions on an airplane. You have to put on your own oxygen mask before you can help others with theirs. When you're secure in your own worth, you have more to give. You're not constantly seeking validation or approval, so you're free to focus on others. You're able to listen more deeply, to empathize more fully, to give more generously. Your relationships become about genuine connection rather than need or obligation. Think about the people in your life who you admire most, the ones who seem to radiate confidence and kindness. I bet if you look closely, you'll see that these are people who have a strong sense of their own worth. They're not perfect, no one is, but they have an inner strength that allows them to navigate life's challenges with grace. That's what I want for you. That inner strength, that unshakable sense of your own value. Because when you have that, you become unstoppable, not in an aggressive, steamrolling kind of way, but in a quiet, powerful way. You become someone who can weather life's storms without losing sight of who you are. Now, let's talk about how this sense of self worth impacts your goals and ambitions. When you truly value yourself, you start to dream bigger. You realize that you're worthy of success, of happiness, of fulfillment. You stop settling for less than you deserve, whether that's in your career, your relationships, or your personal growth. But here's the key: your goals shift from being about proving your worth to expressing your worth. You're no longer chasing success to show others that you're valuable. Instead, you're pursuing your passions because you know that you have something unique and valuable to offer the world. This shift is incredibly liberating. Suddenly, failure isn't so scary anymore because you know that your worth isn't tied to your achievements. You're free to take risks, to try new things, to step out of your comfort zone. And even if things don't work out as planned, you know that you're still valuable, still worthy. Now, I want to circle back to our original scenario when someone doesn't value you anymore. Armed with this new understanding of self worth, you can approach this situation from a completely different perspective. Instead of being devastated, you can see it as an opportunity for growth and self reflection. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use this as a catalyst for positive change in my life? Maybe it's a chance to reevaluate your boundaries. Maybe it's an opportunity to focus on relationships that are more reciprocal, more nurturing. Or maybe it's simply a reminder to keep investing in your own growth and self worth. Remember, when someone doesn't value you, it's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their perception, their limitations. And while it's natural to feel hurt, you don't have to let their perception define you. You get to choose how you respond, how you move forward. In fact, how you handle these situations can become a powerful testament to your self worth. When you respond with grace, with self respect, with a clear understanding of your own value, you send a powerful message not just to the person who undervalued you, but to yourself and to the world at large. You see, true self worth isn't about never being hurt or never facing rejection. It's about how you handle those experiences. It's about being able to stand tall in the face of adversity, to keep your head high even when others try to bring you down. It's about knowing deep in your bones that you are valuable, regardless of what anyone else thinks or says. Now, I want to talk about something that often gets overlooked when we discuss self worth: the importance of self care. When you truly value yourself, you naturally start to take better care of yourself. You realize that you're worth the effort, worth the investment. This self care can take many forms. It might mean setting aside time each day for meditation or reflection. It might mean prioritizing your physical health through regular exercise and nutritious eating. It might mean pursuing hobbies that bring you joy or investing in your education and personal growth. Whatever form it takes, self care is a powerful way to reinforce your sense of self worth. It's a daily reminder that you matter, that your well being is important. And the beautiful thing is, the more you care for yourself, the more capacity you have to care for others and to pursue your goals. But here's the thing about self care, it's not always easy. There will be days when you're tired, when you're stressed, when it feels like you don't have the time or energy for it. And that's okay. The key is to be gentle with yourself, to remember that self care isn't about perfection, it's about consistently choosing to value yourself, even in small ways. Now, let's talk about another crucial aspect of self worth, the ability to receive. Many of us are great at giving, at doing for others. But when it comes to receiving compliments, help, or love, we struggle. We feel uncomfortable, unworthy. But here's the truth, being able to receive is just as important as being able to give. When you truly value yourself, you understand that you're worthy of receiving good things. You're able to accept compliments graciously, to allow others to help you, to let love in. This openness to receiving doesn't make you selfish or weak. On the contrary, it takes strength and self assurance to allow yourself to be supported and appreciated. Think about it this way, when you graciously receive a gift, you're not just allowing yourself to be blessed, you're also allowing the giver the joy of giving. The same is true in life. When you open yourself to receiving love, appreciation, and support, you're creating space for beautiful exchanges of energy and connection. Now, I want to address something that often comes up when we talk about self worth, the fear of becoming arrogant or self centered. But here's the thing, true self worth and arrogance are entirely different. Arrogance comes from insecurity, from a need to prove one's value to others. True self worth, on the other hand, is quiet and assured. It doesn't need to boast or put others down. In fact, when you truly value yourself, you're more likely to value others as well. You understand that your worth doesn't diminish the worth of those around you. There's enough value, enough success, enough love to go around. This understanding allows you to celebrate others' successes without feeling threatened, to appreciate others' qualities without feeling less than. This brings us to an important point, the power of surrounding yourself with people who recognize your worth. When you start to value yourself, you naturally begin to gravitate towards relationships that reflect and reinforce that value. You become less tolerant of relationships that drain you or make you feel less than. This doesn't mean you cut people out of your life at the first sign of conflict. Remember, everyone is on their own journey. And sometimes people may unknowingly say or do things that feel devaluing. The key is to communicate your needs clearly and to set healthy boundaries. If someone consistently fails to respect those boundaries, then it might be time to reevaluate the relationship. But here's the beautiful thing. As you start to value yourself more, you'll likely find that the quality of your relationships improves. You'll attract people who appreciate you for who you truly are, who support your growth, who celebrate your successes. These relationships become a mirror, reflecting back to you your own worth and potential. Now, let's talk about something that's crucial in this journey of self worth, the power of your words. The way you talk to yourself about yourself has a profound impact on your sense of self worth. Your internal dialogue shapes your beliefs, your actions, and ultimately your reality. So I want you to start paying attention to your self talk. Notice the phrases you use when you think about yourself. Are they kind, supportive, or are they critical and harsh? If you find that your internal dialogue is more negative than positive, it's time to make a change. Start by consciously replacing negative self talk with positive affirmations. Instead of, I'm not good enough, try, I am worthy and capable. Instead of, I always mess things up, try, I am learning and growing every day. It might feel awkward or insincere at first, but stick with it. Over time, these new thought patterns will become more natural, more believable. Remember, you wouldn't speak harshly to a friend who is struggling or learning something new, so why do it to yourself? Treat yourself with the same kindness and patience you would extend to a loved one. This simple shift in how you talk to yourself can have a profound impact on your sense of self worth. Now, let's dive into something that's closely related to self worth, the concept of authenticity. When you truly value yourself, you give yourself permission to be authentic, to be truly, unapologetically you. You stop trying to fit into molds created by others' expectations and start embracing your unique qualities and quirks. This authenticity is incredibly powerful. It allows you to connect with others on a deeper level, to pursue paths that truly resonate with you, to live a life that feels genuine and fulfilling. But here's the thing, being authentic isn't always easy. It can feel vulnerable, even scary at times. It might mean standing out when you'd rather blend in, or speaking up when it would be easier to stay quiet. But here's why it's worth it. When you're authentic, you're living in alignment with your true self. You're honoring your own worth by being genuine. And this authenticity attracts the right people and opportunities into your life, people who appreciate you for who you really are, opportunities that align with your true passions and values. Now, I want to talk about something that's crucial in this journey of self worth: resilience. Life will always have its ups and downs. There will be times when you face rejection, failure, or disappointment. The key is not to let these experiences shake your sense of self worth. Resilience isn't about never falling down, it's about always getting back up. It's about maintaining your sense of value even when things don't go as planned. When you have a strong foundation of self worth, you're able to view setbacks as temporary and as opportunities for growth, rather than as reflections of your value as a person. Think about it like this. If you have a precious gemstone, its value doesn't decrease if it gets dirty or if someone fails to recognize its worth. The same is true for you. Your worth is intrinsic. It doesn't change based on external circumstances or others' opinions. Building resilience takes practice. It involves reframing negative experiences, focusing on what you can control, and consistently reminding yourself of your inherent worth. It's about developing a growth mindset, believing that you can learn and grow from every experience, even the challenging ones. Now, let's talk about the role of gratitude in building and maintaining self worth. Gratitude might seem unrelated at first glance, but it's actually a powerful tool in this journey. When you practice gratitude, you train your mind to focus on the positive aspects of your life. Start by taking a few moments each day to reflect on what you're grateful for. Include things about yourself in this practice. Maybe you're grateful for your resilience, your creativity, your kindness. By acknowledging and appreciating these qualities, you reinforce your sense of self worth. Gratitude also helps you maintain perspective. It reminds you of the good in your life, even during challenging times. This can be especially helpful when you're dealing with someone who doesn't value you. Instead of focusing solely on that negative experience, gratitude helps you remember all the people and experiences that do affirm your worth. Now, I want to address something that often comes up in discussions of self worth: the impact of social media and societal pressures. In today's digital age, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to the carefully curated images we see online. We're bombarded with messages about how we should look, act, and live our lives. But here's the truth: your worth isn't determined by how many likes you get on a post, how many followers you have, or how your life compares to someone else's highlight reel. Your worth comes from within. It's about who you are, not how you measure up to some external standard. That's why it's crucial to be mindful of how you engage with social media and societal messages. Use these platforms intentionally as tools for connection and inspiration, not as measuring sticks for your worth. Remember, what you see online is often a carefully edited version of reality. Your unedited, authentic self is far more valuable than any polished online persona. Now, let's talk about the power of setting and achieving goals and building self worth. When you set a goal and work towards it, you're sending a powerful message to yourself. You're saying, I'm worth the effort, I'm capable of growth and achievement. But here's the key: the goal itself isn't what builds your self worth, it's the process of working towards it, of showing up for yourself day after day, even if you don't achieve the goal exactly as you envisioned. The effort you put in, the skills you develop, the resilience you build, these all contribute to your sense of self worth. So I encourage you to set goals that excite you, that align with your values and passions. Break these goals down into small, manageable steps. Celebrate your progress along the way. And remember, it's okay if things don't go exactly as planned. The journey itself is valuable, regardless of the outcome. Now, let's circle back to our original scenario when someone doesn't value you anymore. Armed with this deeper understanding of self worth, you can approach this situation with a new perspective. Instead of letting it devastate you, you can see it as an opportunity for growth and self reflection. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use this as a catalyst for positive change in my life? Maybe it's a chance to reassess your boundaries. Maybe it's an opportunity to focus on relationships that are more reciprocal, more nurturing. Or maybe it's simply a reminder to keep investing in your own growth and self worth. Remember, when someone doesn't value you, it's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their perception, their limitations. And while it's natural to feel hurt, you don't have to let their perception define you. You get to choose how you respond, how you move forward. In fact, how you handle these situations can become a powerful testament to your self worth when you respond with grace, with self respect, with a clear understanding of your own value. You send a powerful message, not just to the person who undervalued you, but to yourself and to the world at large. Now, I want to talk about something that's often overlooked in discussions about self worth: the importance of vulnerability. It might seem counterintuitive at first. After all, doesn't being vulnerable mean exposing our weaknesses? But here's the truth: embracing vulnerability is actually a sign of strength and self assurance. When you're secure in your own worth, you're able to be vulnerable. You're able to admit when you're struggling, to ask for help when you need it, to show your authentic self, imperfections and all. This vulnerability allows for deeper connections, more authentic relationships, and greater personal growth. Think about it. It takes courage to be vulnerable. It takes self worth to say, "This is who I am, flaws and all." When you're able to do this, you're not only honoring your own worth, but you're also creating space for others to do the same. Your vulnerability becomes an invitation for authenticity and genuine connection. Now, let's talk about the role of forgiveness in maintaining self worth. Forgiveness might seem unrelated, but it's actually a powerful tool in this journey. When you're able to forgive both others and yourself, you're demonstrating a deep understanding of human complexity and fallibility. Forgiving others doesn't mean condoning their actions or allowing them to continue hurting you. It means releasing the hold that their actions have on you. It means choosing to move forward, to focus on your own growth and well being rather than staying stuck in hurt or resentment. Self forgiveness is equally important. We all make mistakes, we all have moments we're not proud of. Being able to forgive yourself, to show yourself compassion, is a crucial aspect of self worth. It's about recognizing that your worth isn't diminished by your mistakes or shortcomings. Now, I want to address something that often comes up when we talk about self worth: the fear of being seen as selfish or self centered. But here's the thing: valuing yourself isn't selfish. In fact, it's necessary if you want to show up fully in your life and your relationships. Think of it this way: you can't pour from an empty cup. When you value yourself, when you take care of your own needs and honor your own worth, you have more to give to others. You're able to be more present, more compassionate, more engaged in your relationships and your community. Moreover, when you value yourself, you set an example for others. You show them what self respect looks like. You create a ripple effect, inspiring others to recognize and honor their own worth. In this way, valuing yourself becomes an act of service to the world around you. Now, let's talk about the importance of boundaries in maintaining self worth. When you value yourself, you naturally start to set and maintain healthy boundaries. These boundaries aren't walls to keep people out, they're guidelines that teach people how to treat you. Setting boundaries might mean saying no to things that don't align with your values or that drain your energy. It might mean communicating clearly about your needs and expectations in relationships. It might mean creating space for self care and personal growth. At first, setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're not used to it. You might worry about disappointing others or being seen as difficult. But remember, people who truly value you will respect your boundaries. And those who don't respect your boundaries, well, they're showing you something important about how they value you. Now, I want to circle back to our original scenario when someone doesn't value you anymore. Armed with all this understanding about self worth, boundaries, authenticity, and resilience, how might you approach this situation differently? First, you'd recognize that their lack of appreciation doesn't diminish your worth. You'd understand their perception is about them, not you. You'd allow yourself to feel hurt because it's natural and okay to feel pain in these situations. But you wouldn't let that hurt define you or shake your sense of self-worth. You might take this as an opportunity to reflect on the relationship. Were there signs earlier that this person didn't truly value you? Were there boundaries that needed to be set? What can you learn from this experience to carry forward into future relationships? You'd also focus on self care during this time. You'd surround yourself with people who do recognize your worth. You'd engage in activities that remind you of your value and bring you joy. You'd practice positive self talk, reminding yourself of your inherent worth. And perhaps most importantly, you'd use this as a catalyst for growth. You'd ask yourself, how can I use this experience to become even more grounded in my self worth? How can I turn this challenge into an opportunity for personal development? Remember, the way someone treats you says more about them than it does about you. When you truly value yourself, you're able to see this clearly. You're able to maintain your sense of worth even when others fail to recognize it. Now, I want to talk about something that's crucial in this journey of self worth: the power of choice. You see, in every moment, you have a choice. You can choose how you respond to situations, how you talk to yourself, how you show up in the world. When someone doesn't value you, you have a choice. You can choose to let their opinion shake your self worth, or you can choose to stand firm in your own value. You can choose to dwell on the hurt, or you can choose to focus on your growth and well being. This power of choice is incredibly liberating. It means that no one else has the power to determine your worth. It means that even in the face of rejection or disappointment, you can choose to honor your own value. It means that you're not a victim of circumstances, but an active part. Now, let's talk about the role of purpose in building and maintaining self worth. When you have a sense of purpose, when you feel that your life has meaning and that you're contributing to something larger than yourself, it naturally boosts your sense of self worth. This purpose doesn't have to be grand or world changing. It could be being a loving parent or friend. It could be excelling in your career. It could be volunteering in your community. Whatever it is, having a purpose gives you a sense of direction and value. And when you're connected to your purpose, external validation becomes less important. You're driven by an internal sense of meaning and worth rather than by others' opinions or societal expectations. This internal motivation is far more powerful and lasting than any external validation. Now, I want to address something that often comes up in discussions of self worth: the impact of past experiences. Many of us carry wounds from the past, times when we were hurt, rejected, or made to feel less than. These experiences can shape our sense of self worth, often in ways we're not fully aware of. But here's the thing: while we can't change the past, we can change how we relate to it. We can choose to see our past experiences as teachers rather than definers of our worth. We can recognize that we are not our past, that we have grown and evolved beyond those experiences. This doesn't mean denying or minimizing past hurts. It means acknowledging them, processing them, and then choosing to move forward. It means recognizing that your worth isn't determined by what happened to you, but by who you choose to be now. Now, let's talk about the importance of self reflection in this journey of self worth. Regular self reflection allows you to check in with yourself, to assess your growth, to reconnect with your values and goals. It's a powerful tool for maintaining and deepening your sense of self worth. This self reflection might take the form of journaling, meditation, or simply taking quiet time to think. The key is to approach it with curiosity and compassion. Ask yourself, how am I feeling? What's going well in my life? Where do I want to grow? What do I need right now? Through this practice of self reflection, you deepen your understanding of yourself. You become more attuned to your needs, your values, your strengths. This self awareness is crucial in maintaining a strong sense of self worth. Now, I want to circle back to our original scenario one more time. When someone doesn't value you anymore, with all this understanding, with all these tools at your disposal, how do you move forward? You move forward by choosing to value yourself, regardless of others' opinions. You move forward by focusing on your growth, your purpose, your authentic self. You move forward by surrounding yourself with people who recognize your worth while setting clear boundaries with those who don't. You move forward by seeing this experience not as a reflection of your worth, but as an opportunity for growth and self discovery. You ask yourself, what can I learn from this? I use this experience to become even more grounded in my self worth. And perhaps most importantly, you move forward by continuing to show up fully in your life. You continue to pursue your goals, to nurture your relationships, to contribute to your community. Because when you truly value yourself, you understand that your worth isn't diminished by someone else's inability to see it. You see, valuing yourself isn't about never feeling hurt or never facing rejection. It's about how you handle those experiences. It's about being able to stand tall in the face of adversity, to keep your head high even when others try to bring you down. It's about knowing deep in your bones that you are valuable, regardless of what anyone else thinks or says. This journey of self worth isn't always easy. There will be days when you struggle, when old doubts creep in. But remember, every step forward is progress. Every time you choose to honor your worth, you're building a stronger foundation for yourself. And here's the beautiful thing: as you continue on this journey, as you become more grounded in your self worth, you'll likely find that life starts to shift. Opportunities that align with your true self will start to appear. Relationships will become more authentic and fulfilling. You'll feel more confident in pursuing your goals and dreams. Because when you truly value yourself, you give yourself permission to live fully, to pursue what lights you up, to be authentically you. And there's nothing more powerful than that. So, my friends, I challenge you to embrace your worth, to recognize the unique value that you bring to the world, to stand tall in the face of those who fail to see your worth, to choose every day to honor and celebrate your inherent value.